Here we are.
There we are.
Okay. The free agency pod.
48 minutes about Eric Gordon re-signing. I'm in the 4th day. Have you guys ever done a fast? Have you ever done like one of those 5-day? I'm on day 4.
What are you are you eating? What are you eating?
So the free plug company is called Prolon, and they give you like a little box of stuff to eat every day. So it's like teas and then a couple of pills with nutrients, and it has like little soups. Like I get to have a little soup for lunch and dinner. So it's like 800 calories a day. I'm on day 4. It's supposed to be good for cellular rejuvenation, like fasting a few times a year is supposed to be good for you. So I figured I would try it.
What's your level of crankiness right at this very moment?
It's actually not bad because you mostly cut out caffeine too. Like you can't have caffeine during the day. But I'm not that cranky.
What is your normal caffeine intake?
I normally have like 12 ounces of coffee when I wake up and then a Diet Coke in the middle of the day. So the Diet Coke in the middle of the day is gone. But I'm not that cranky. I'm really not. I thought I would be more tired. Now I think about food all the time now. But I'm not, like, energy-wise, I'm doing fine.
Okay, well, let's test it. Let's test it on pod.
Well, on the afternoon show yesterday, it got tested a little bit, and there was some crankiness yesterday, if I'm being honest.
Oh, my God.
I get cranky when I'm not fasting. I'm not, like, happy-go-lucky guy.
No, but anytime I'm in a fight anytime me and Alyssa are getting in an argument, it's usually because I'm hungry.
Because really? Val's like that. Once Val becomes like anything a little bit more than a little hungry,
Alyssa's like, do you think you should eat? I'm like, do you think you should eat? Yes. It's good. It's good to be a human being. We got it all figured out.
Oh, it's the free agency show. On the show today, free agency starts for most of the teams. Hasn't been particularly busy for the Sixers. Yabusele's gone with the Knicks. Eric Gordon's back. Sixers signed Trendon Watford. Also, Quentin Grimes still sits unsigned with no end in sight. Also, Kelly Oubre opts in. Elsewhere, lots of other movement in the NBA. So we'll spend 6 minutes on the Sixers and then 54 minutes on the rest of it. Also, Kevin Durant and LeBron James with an interesting little passage about small guards in the NBA that I thought was relevant because we have a couple of small guards. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is presented by Draftkings Sportsbook, as it always is. Sign up for Draftkings Sportsbook by using promo code RTRS. And brought to you by MortgageCS. Become a MortgageCS Ricky VIP at mortgagecs.com/Ricky. BodyBio. Get 20% off any BodyBio order with promo code AUGUST at bodybio.com. That is August. And Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka, the official canned cocktail of the Ricky. A reminder, all of our excellent writers, Andrew Unterberger and MOC and who am I forgetting? The Danny and Alonso. You can get all of their articles emailed to you, so you don't have to go to the website. You don't have to check social media, none of that stuff. Just go to rightstoRickySanchez.com/subscribe. It's free. They all get emailed to you. It's very, very easy. So many people are doing it. They're so happy that they have to spend less time surfing the web, as they say, as all the cool kids say. Speaking of cool kids, iced tea and vodka, Surfside's version is what all the cool kids are drinking, not from a pressure standpoint, just because the cool kids like good things, and Surfside is good. The data on it is good, right? Like the 100 calories, the 2 grams of sugar, the no carbonation, all that stuff, but the taste, excellent. You want one of these things. You want to be able to drink it on a hot day. You want to be able to drink a few of them, and to do that, they can't be that sweet. Right? And that's what Surfside is, just the right amount of sweetness, whatever version you like. Maybe the green tea, maybe the raspberry tea, lemonade, whatever it is. Get it where you get your local canned cocktails or go to drinksurfside.com. You got to be 21. Please enjoy it responsibly. Without any further ado, Amos and the chef.
We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We was right, y'all. We were right. So So say the name. Say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We were right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. Say the name.
Forever.
Hey, yo. Welcome to the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast. I'm Spike Guerschon, along with a guy who, no matter what happens, at least he's got Christopher Sanchez. That is one Mike Levin.
I love Chris Sanchez. I love Sanchez. I love Ranger. Wheeler is just one of the best pitchers in Philly's history.
Yep.
Ranger really. Ugh.
You're the Luzardo guy? Yeah.
I like Luzardo.
Okay.
I need some more time to you know, hook into him. I mean, a hell of a start. 2 really bad outings that will up his ear. Right? We're not talking about baseball. We're not talking about baseball. It's free agency pod, and the Sixers are signing free agents.
Nobody. 2 free agents. 2 free
Kinda.
agents. Yeah. So, well, really 1 free agent, if we're being honest. If we're, you know, calling them like we see them. So the 2 big ones. Let's do the 2 big ones up first, and then we'll go to Yabusele and Grimes. Let's do Watford and Gordon. No, I'm just kidding. Guerschon Yabusele leaves for the mid-level exception with the Knicks. That is 2 years, $12 million. Quentin Grimes remains unsigned, as many restricted free agents do, as their agents are in a very difficult position in that nobody will really give them it. First of all, there's not a lot of money out there. There's not really any money aside from non-taxpayer mid-level, so 15, whatever. I think the most anybody could offer Grimes at this point is 17. I think that's Brooklyn. They would have to renounce a bunch of other players to do more. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is, if the team feels like the team that holds the rights is going to match it anyway, they don't want to sign you to an offer sheet, because then that just ties up their cap for 2 days. So the agent for Quentin Grimes and Jonathan Kuminga and whoever else is restricted that wanted some big payday is that if the team that has you doesn't want to give you a big payday, you're kind of fucked. And it leaves the option for Grimes to sign a longer-term deal for less money than he was hoping, I guess, or sign the qualifying offer for whatever, $10 million, and then be an unrestricted free agent afterwards.
And the qualifying offer is like 8.7, I think.
Yes.
It's just under it,
Yeah. So, you know, they've been on Yabusele. There's been a lot out there. So there is this thing that has been made, you know, all of the writers now are saying, is that a potential issue is that if they sign Yabusele at the mid-level and somebody, it can like hard cap them if somebody could offer them, if somebody offers Grimes more than like $18 million a year, they wouldn't be able to match it. They would be stuck. But there's no team that can offer Grimes. Now, that doesn't mean that somebody couldn't create cap room, but you would think if somebody was that interested in Quentin Grimes at that number, they would have signed them already. I think all that to be said, or all that aside, I just don't think the Sixers valued Guerschon Yabusele all that much, and probably didn't want to pay him the full mid-level, and probably think there are better uses for it than Yabusele. That would be my gut.
I'm tired of the team not being savvy. I'm tired of the team missing out on a couple picks here, being a little like, our hands are tied. We have to do this. We have to get under the cap. We have to deduct the luxury tax. We have to consider. We have to give. Well, we're at the mercy of Andre Drummond and Eric Gordon picking up their player options. I just would like a little bit more smooth, suave management. Guerschon Yabusele was the bright spot on the team last year. Him and McCain and Justin Edwards. And at the deadline, the Sixers should have traded him.
Can I stop you right there just for a second? Just to ask you a question.
I got a head of steam.
I know, but I want to know what you think they could have gotten for Guerschon Yabusele.
I think they could have gotten either an interesting young player and a pick, or like 2 interesting second round picks. They've not interesting young player like a great one, but like an interesting one. Someone that's Guerschon's 29 or whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
They get nothing. The reason they didn't trade him, days before the trade deadline, they won 4 games in a row. And they played Denver, Boston, and Miami tough. They were a few games out of the play-in. Embiid was playing for some of that. Paul George was playing for some of that. They thought that they were going to make the play-in tournament. Instead, all year long, this team thought that like eventually the stars will align and they'll be healthy enough and they'll figure it out and they'll be a team that nobody wants to face in the playoffs. If you squint, do you remember squinting, Spike?
I remember the squinting.
Instead, because of that, it was truly the best week or two they had of the season. Playing team stuff, you can look at the game log.
Wasn't trading Caleb Martin sort of giving up on the season, or no?
A little bit. But the
Okay.
deal was also getting younger in Grimes and also picking up a second round pick. And they also had the Jared Butler trade. I listened to the trade deadline podcast.
Okay.
I did with AU. You were at the Super Bowl.
Oh, right. I was like, why didn't I do it? Because the Eagles won the Super Bowl.
That's right.
Yeah.
Instead of trading Yabusele at the deadline for not a huge haul, not an enormous one, maybe a fake first round pick, maybe a couple picks, whatever. They finish 4-28. They get the number 3 pick, which they never thought that they would get all season long. They just did not think that they're like, we're not going to be bad enough to keep the pick. We're not going to be bad enough to keep the pick. Guess what? They were bad enough to keep the pick. And Quentin Grimes, who they acquire at the deadline, ends up popping. I said in that trade deadline pod that they'll probably sign him to like an $8 to $12 million deal. That looks like it's going to be closer to 14 to 18, give or take, 13 to 15, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
Because he had a great rest of the year. And then, like you said, Yabusele signs a deal with the Knicks that they, if they wanted to, could have matched. They could have offered him this contract. They could have told him. They could have communicated it better with him if they really wanted him, if it was a really important part of this team.
If they wanted him, they could have.
If they really wanted him, they could have kept him.
Yeah.
And they could have kept Grimes if they had just done a better job of like managing the situation. They didn't. They lose him for nothing. Not only to lose him for nothing, they lose him for nothing to a very close theoretical rival for next year. Obviously, no one was a rival this year. The rival was themselves this year. They were a horrible team. And I'm just tired of over and over again, they just don't maximize opportunities. They signed last season, they signed KJ Martin to this contract. We're going to give him the balloon payment, and then we're going to trade him. It's going to be beautiful. We're going to trade him. It's going to be perfect. And then at the deadline, they have to trade 2 second-round picks so that they can duck the tax and get him off of the books. Those picks matter. Those picks matter. Rasheer Fleming could have been had at 31 if they wanted him. I'm not saying they want him. I don't know anything.
Sure.
But if they wanted Rasheer Fleming or Noah Penda or Ryan Kalkbrenner or somebody that they thought was like, that's actually really good, but we can't afford to trade those picks, they would have had a surplus of picks had they not shot themselves in the foot with the KJ Martin thing, had they moved Yabusele at the deadline. You can add like the Paul George contract and we signed Paul George this contract. We go on this big celebration victory tour, send a fucking a foreign podcaster in myself, a jersey that says cap space 60 is a little fun little taunt. We did it. And then months later, the conversation is, we got to trade something to get off of this Paul George contract that we just signed. They keep signing. They keep shooting themselves in the foot. And it's because they've really been my biggest frustration with last year. And again, I listened to that trade deadline pod I did with AU where we scream at each other for an hour and a half.
Oh, that was when he was. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
My biggest frustration with last year, they have been so all in, this team, this organization, through multiple front offices since the second year Embiid was healthy, since they traded for Jimmy.
Yep.
And they traded for Tobias in the same year. They've pushed their chips in over and over again. And this past year, after like 7 or 8 years of that, this past year was so cursed from the start, from the very beginning. And they could have done a better job of being a dumping ground for players that didn't matter, that they could take on picks. They could have lost Yabusele. Now, is it how much of it? I'm parsing. I'm for sure parsing.
Right.
But all of it adds up because last year was so horrible.
This isn't about, oh my God, they lost Guerschon Yabusele.
No, I think he's a nice player. It would have been nice to keep him, but I'm not throwing a riot to do this. But it's just I'm frustrated by the process.
If they didn't like him that much anyway, which it appears
they should have traded him.
They should have traded him, right?
And AU, who I love, but do think is infiltrated by the devil occasionally, saying like, I don't mind. Not everything has to be about assets, it was nice that he made the team watchable for the last rest of the year. What the fuck was he watching? What in the world in end of February, March, April, when they went 4-28 was watchable about this team? And it's just like, stop giving mediocre or worse players player options. They're hamstrung by Eric Gordon. They're hamstrung by Andre Drummond. It is mismanagement. Now, they're not the Kings. They're not the Bulls. They're not as bad as that. But then you look at other teams and you see Denver figure some stuff out. And you see the Hawks figure some stuff out. And you see the Rockets figure some stuff out. And maybe because they've just been too deep in a hole for the last 8 years of trying to go for it, the Sixers have been unable to make the smart, savvy, maximizing moves to give them the best chance to have a better chance of contending now and pivoting off of this to help ourselves in the future as well. And I'm annoyed by it. I'm annoyed.
Yeah, it's like, in a second. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is brought to you by MortgageCS. If you need a mortgage, this is the quick and dirty. You need a mortgage, you need a mortgage broker. The MortgageCS is better than any other mortgage broker that you're going to get. They're going to communicate with you better. They're going to work harder with the people selling the house to make sure that you get the house. They're independent, so you don't have to worry about any screwy deals they have with a bank that you don't know about that is pushing you to one place or another place. And like, I know there are some headlines out there that, the housing market is slowing down or whatever. Not up here, not in the Northeast. A coworker of mine just sold his house in 2 days, and in multiple offers in 2 days. So, when you have a good mortgage broker who's good at communicating, who has a good name, who sellers trust, who will reach out to the seller for you, gives you a better chance of getting the house. So MortgageCS is the only one you can work with. I have done it, and it was substantially better than the other two mortgage brokers I worked with. Very nice people, but this was a completely different experience. It's like a different world. When they say Ricky VIP, it's a real thing. You can call or text Ben whenever you want. He is the CEO of MortgageCS, 267-391-7425. 267-391-7425. Or go to mortgagecs.com/Ricky. Also, other things they can work with you on, maybe using your house equity as a financial asset rather than being buried in credit card debt. They can help you with that. You don't know whether it's time to refinance. The rates are going up and down, it seems like every other month. They can help you with that as well. There's a reason they have so many 5-star reviews on Google, and there's a reason that everybody's so happy when they talk about them. MortgageCS. Again, call or text Ben anytime, 267-391-7425, or go to mortgagecs.com/Ricky. This advertisement is not a commitment to lend or extend credit. MortgageCS is an equal housing opportunity mortgage broker. All loans are subject to credit approval. Certain restrictions may apply. Company NMLS 1464766. Visit mortgagecs.com/Ricky for more information. It almost seems like from a... and you said, who knows if it's because of where they started, that they're never able to get on solid ground. It almost feels like they are slipping, like if you've slipped on ice and you spend 6 seconds slipping, and no matter how hard you try to level yourself, you're always slipping. It does feel like that sometimes. You I think vocalize that in a good way, because I think you could attack every part of that, right? Like you could go, well, losing Yabusele is not that big a deal, because I don't think it is. It'd be a nice guy to have, but
especially because it's a position of need.
Yes. Now, as a 4 next to Embiid, who knows? But dude, for 14 minutes a game on a good team, I'd love to have Guerschon Yabusele.
Yeah, he's going to be very solid on the Knicks.
Sure. Or you could go and you could say, well, like I said to you, well, maybe they couldn't get anybody, but it is at the deadline. But it does feel like a constant thing. And this one little thing, and them being stuck on this Grimes thing, whether they are or they're not, is another sort of, holding them up is another one of those things.
Yeah.
I know you don't want to have this debate. I certainly don't want to have this debate. I just want to ask you a question. I know, going back to the U and AU debate, and essentially to whittle it down for everyone, is that like AU was like, we might as well go for it even if we don't have any chance, because like we're only gonna have so many years to go for it.
Yeah,
and you
this
were
was
like,
when they were like 15 games under 500 last season. Or whatever.
And you were like, it's never gonna happen.
This season certainly wasn't gonna happen last season.
Yes. Well, does looking at the playoffs and saying, wow, Jason Tatum tore his fucking Achilles and Tyrese Halliburton tore his Achilles, does it do anything more for the just get into the play-in sort of thought on last year?
Not last year, no.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No, because all those teams were good. that did well in the playoffs.
Yeah. The Sixers were never
Sixers
good.
were never good. And,
Well,
and I like Yabusele, and it would have bummed me out slightly if they traded him for like,
a 2.
a second round pick and 2030 second round pick or something like that.
Yeah.
Probably it would have been like, oh, that's a bummer. Like the rest of the season, he seems fun. But the Sixers have talked, from what I have heard from other people, the Sixers have been like, yeah, we had offers and we thought we were going to be able to. We think we're going to be able to sign him. This is in the past, since the trade deadline. Yeah. We think we're going to be able to sign him, and they just weren't. And it's just like, that's just a waste. It's just a waste. It was for nothing.
I assume they're going to re-sign Quentin Grimes. Like, I don't have any doubt.
You think the number's 14? Is that what we said?
Well, I mean, like, I guess it depends on by the way, at this point, it's not about them being cheap. It's like every million counts when you're talking about first apron, second apron, fucking all that stuff. That all matters. I think it depends on how much they're willing to give, because I don't think there's any chance. Maybe that sounds more obvious than I meant it to sound. I don't think there's any chance he just takes a qualifying offer. I think that's like 0. I don't know.
I mean, there's a version where there's going to be a lot more money. I didn't think so as well, but there's a version where there's a lot more money next year. And if he thinks next year he can get the $25 million he's looking for,
yeah, but that's a dangerous game, because
it's absolutely a dangerous game from a guy that has not had stability in his NBA career,
and a team that like just drafted a guy that plays your position.
For sure. But that might be why he's like, all right, I'll take the qualifying offer and then I'll go somewhere else, rather than be here for 3 or 4 years and go, all right, well, I'm not going to sign it. I don't want to be a bench player on this team, and I want to decide where I want to go in free agency.
Well, I meant it more like his opportunity here to shine may not be this year. I
totally know. But there's more opportunity to shine this year when he's 19.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Than next year as he continues to get better.
I think I don't know, 4 years, 64, 16 million.
I don't know. He could also decide to go like, I don't want to do 4 years. I want to enter free agency a little bit sooner than that. And so maybe it's 2, maybe it's 3. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be about 16 million. That's where I also think it's going to land. So I think they'll get him, and I think it'll be fine. He's the more important player to sign than Yabusele, even though Guerschon is at a bigger position of need. And I do think that 100%, and I know that VJ Edgecombe and Quentin Grimes, their skill sets, like, are, even if there's overlap, you need a bunch of those kinds of skill sets. That's the good skill set to have overlap of. Having
2 guys with high motors that can guard and shoot open threes is like,
that's important.
We could have 5 of them, and
for sure. I'm just annoyed that like Andre Drummond picks up his player option, and it's like, well, we could trade more second round picks to get off of him. We can just keep doing that. It's like, why the fuck did you give Andre Drummond's old ass? He obviously had a worse year last year than they anticipated, but he was on the team before. Like, he's not great. Like, he's not elite. Why would you give him a player option? And if it's like he wouldn't have signed here, I just like they are getting worked more often than other really good teams are getting worked. And they're good players, they're elite players, Embiid, Paul George, Maxey, have not been elite enough
to make up
for that.
Yeah.
And obviously nothing mattered last year. They could have done everything right and they did a bunch of things good. McCain was a good pick. Yabusele was a good pick in veterans minimum. Out of France when everybody was calling for them. It's just like
was a good pick. Justin Edwards is a good pickup.
Yeah,
like
these are good. They're not entirely failing, but like they really need to hit. They can't afford to fail. Like there's been too many years of bigger mess ups over all of Joel's career, and obviously nothing matters if he's done. But yeah, I mean, I hate that Eric Gordon is on the team.
We knew it was going to happen, by the way.
We knew he was on the team. Like at least he got he declines his option so he could sign better because it's a smaller cap hit but more money. Good for him. He gets to be the mentor to VJ Edgecombe, who he was on the Bahamas national team with. Great. If Kyle Lowry is on this team,
I'm going to lose it.
I'm going to lose it. I'm going to lose it. I like Kyle Lowry. I love his career. I love him as a guy.
Coach. Make him
an assistant coach.
Yeah.
Make him the head coach.
Yeah.
I don't care. He cannot be taking up a roster spot on this team. If Kyle Lowry, Eric Gordon, and Andre Drummond are taking up roster spots on this team after what Daryl said last year about like we're gonna learn and we're gonna get younger and we need to get more athletic, like I will lose it. I will absolutely lose it.
They can't do it. They can't do it this year. We just can't. I'd rather have some young athletic guy who Nick Nurse doesn't love.
Totally.
Who might not be good. I don't even get Jalen Hood-Schifino. Put him on the fucking team. I don't care.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I don't like Jalen.
Well, you know what I mean. I just thought of a guy.
For sure. But I think I would also like to, because right now they have, if they sign Grimes, one roster spot left.
Yes.
They could
They usually stay light, one light. Yeah.
So that would be the 15 roster spots. You have one left if you sign Grimes. Ricky Council's deal is non-guaranteed. I could see them just deciding no thanks.
Yeah.
Or trying to trade him or whatever. I wouldn't rule out the possibility of them figuring out some Drummond Oubre something trade. Who knows? But because they signed Janai Broom to the main roster, which we were unsure of whether they were doing, not the two-way. They got him on a nice little, hinky specialist type of deal. And they signed Watford, who we can talk about. But yeah, there's just not that many spots left. So you still need power forwards. Could use another one, maybe one that can shoot.
Well, for what it's worth, they still have their MLE. There's not a lot of guys. It's funny. I saw his name. I wrote it down. I was like, Chris Boucher.
Yeah, I love Chris Boucher.
Well, I love him because against us, I'm sure he would be fucking terrible here. But so they did sign Trendon Watford. Now, as I've mentioned on previous pods, I watched too much Nets last year because I had them on my cable when I was living in North Jersey. He's pretty good. I just want to say I kind of like Trendon Watford. He is a good passer and he is a good ball handler, and he has more moves than you think he does. He's a pretty good defender. I mean, he's not a good shooter or anything, but he's a power forward size.
He's power forward.
Yeah, I guess he's a 20-25 power forward. He doesn't rebound like a fucking I think sometimes we think of power forward like somebody who's going to make up for Joel's rebounding. I don't think Trendon Watford is going to do that, but he's a good player. I know he's just a minimum guy, and I think Trendon Watford's a good player. I got pretty excited when I saw it. Yeah,
I've been talking about Watford for a few years. A guy I like, played 2 years at LSU, went undrafted, 2 years in Portland, and then 2 years in Brooklyn. They get him at 2 years at the minimum. 24 years old, 6'9" with a 7'1" wingspan. He's thick. He is not a plus athlete, but he plays really hard, and he has a high motor. He plays intense. As you said, I mean, he can really pass. A 21% assist rate with Brooklyn last year is really very strong for a big. But he's not a good outside shooter. He's got a really slow release, but he does have nice touch around the rim. He can sort of do some of that punishing ass stuff that Yabusele did in the post. They ran a lot of post-ups for him in Brooklyn. He plays through contact a lot. He initiates a lot of physicality. Spin moves, like scoop finger rolls around the rim. He's got a nice little floater.
He's pretty good, man.
He's a good player. I like him. I definitely like him. I'm pro. And he's good friends with Maxey. They were in the same high school recruiting class and both 5-star prospects. He's only played on bad teams.
Yeah.
He's only played on bad teams. He made the tournament his second year at LSU, and they won one round, and then gave Franz Wagner's Michigan team an interesting second round scare. But he was on college team with Cam Thomas. And in Brooklyn, he ran a lot of offense by himself off the bench, where it's like he's got the ball at the top of the key, go operate. And hopefully that doesn't happen here. Like, if that's the case here, it's because everybody's hurt again and it doesn't matter. My question is, like, can he tailor his game into, because he's a pretty smart, like, high field player. Can he tailor his game into more of a high efficiency, low usage role player role that can punish a mismatch on the perimeter if he's got a bigger guy on him that can't move, or a mismatch in the post when he's got a smaller guy on him that can't handle. He did a lot of that last year. And can he shoot off the catch? Can he get those numbers up to where he's useful? I think it is and I also love the fact that, like, after all the shit Maxey's been through,
he gets his friend.
It's nice to get a friend. It's nice to get his friend here. I'm happy for him there. I think it's a worthwhile gamble on a 2-year deal for a young guy who has that kind of high feel for the game. It's a good signing. It's a little of a backward signing, because I'd rather get the starting power forward first if they could have done that. But he'll be in the rotation in and out, and I think he's going to be useful.
By the way, I also, just quick other Nets thing. I think Jordi Fernandez is a good coach. That team stunk last year, but when you watch him, I don't know. I thought when I watched the Nets, I felt like I was watching a well-coached team, even though they stunk. So I think he's a good coach. Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast presented by Draftkings Sportsbook. Now, okay, so basketball is over, and you can bet baseball with Draftkings Sportsbook. I'm being honest, I never bet baseball before, and then I looked at the Draftkings app. The number of props, Mike, that you can bet on baseball is fucking wild. Like, I know a lot of people need a little extra juice to watch baseball. I do not. Props at DraftKings would be good. Of course, you can bet home runs, but you bet over-unders per inning. You can bet first team to score 3 runs. You can bet over-unders on fucking walks. They have special game props for each one. Like, you can bet, by the way, like live pitch by pitch, what's going to happen in the next pitch. Dude. You could, like, this. I'm looking at the Phils Padres one. Next plate appearance in play is plus 400 for Otto Kemp.
Well, it's 0-2 count.
Yeah, and now, you're behind. Yeah, well, I don't know. Now in play is plus 340. Anyway, you want to bet fucking baseball? That actually would drive me crazy. Now I'm thinking about it. I want to do it. If you're a first-time DraftKings customer, bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you use code RTRS. You download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use code RTRS. Once again, that is RTRS for new customers. You get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5 only at DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Got to be 21. See show notes for details. Chris Boucher still out there. Marvin Bagley Jr. still out there, who Mike O'Connor said, what did he say? He stinks, but at least he's athletic and he stinks rather than and old and stinks. Yeah. Ben Simmons still out there.
There you go.
And, of course, Al Horford.
I like Trey Lyles as a possibility.
Oh, yeah, Trey Lyles. Yeah,
would be nice. Jayshawn Tate is gone. Wonder what Gary Payton II gets. Gui Santos. Jabari Walker. Batum is back to the Clippers, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, that was predictable. 2 for 11, I think.
Yeah. It's sparse. It's sparse out there.
Yeah.
Santi Aldama signs a big contract. Dorian Finney-Smith signs a big contract. Jabari Smith signs a big contract.
Let me throw this at you. About them going to get a power forward.
You just grabbed a bottle and said, let me throw this at you.
Yeah, I meant a thing that I'm going to say to you. I can't throw this at you. You're 3,000 miles away. I got a good arm, but not that kind of arm.
Wow.
So I sort of looked at this isn't talking about the Phillies, it's just making a comparison, because we were talking about the Phillies this week. And the Phillies this offseason, they got Luzardo, but they didn't do the sort of double down investing on the team that I think a lot of people wanted. They didn't sign Alex Bregman for $100 million, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And part of it was they had already spent so much, and I think they were a little unsure of the team. and they can spend the first half of the season having the team convince them that it's worth investing in them. And like from a power forward standpoint, I feel like there's probably enough players from the Justin Edwards and the Trendon Watfords to throw out there at 4 for the first month and a half of the season to see whether this team is worth trading something of value for a power forward.
Yeah.
And I think if the Sixers prove, if they earn it, if they prove they are good enough, Daryl will go find a power forward somewhere. But I think they're probably, again, just like they're doing with the draft and this whole sort of try to do two things at once, try to compete now and not blow it for the future. I think they probably want to know that the team is worth investing in before they invest something that they think of value just to help this specific team right now.
Yeah, it's reasonable.
Yeah.
But right now, I think Kelly Oubre is your starting power forward.
Really?
Yeah.
Over Edwards?
I think so. I think
Okay.
they like a little bit more athleticism in the
that's
starting
fair.
lineup. That'd be my guess, but
Yeah.
I guess I wouldn't be shocked if he was.
Well, I mean, last year was supposed to be Caleb Martin, so which is he's not Kelly Oubre, but like the same weaknesses. Can't shoot.
Yeah. Maybe a Caleb Houston on Orlando. Maybe Jeremiah Robinson Earl, former Nova guy. Yeah, I mean, there's not that many good players available. I would love to sign Grimes to some deal. I like him very much, but if any of those other guys, Santi Aldama, Tyrese, and Herb Jones, become available, that would be a nice flop.
Yeah.
At the deadline or so.
What do you think of your boy LeBron not thinking that the Lakers can compete for a championship after they get Luka Doncic, so he's monitoring their moves?
Bizarre, man. Singular.
Dude, he is the weirdest. He is. What a strange thing. There was this moment where it, like, for me as a a LeBron hater now, and like invested in being a Luka hater, even though I'm not really a Luka hater, it worked both ways for me. One, it was like, what a goofball LeBron is. He's saying like he wants to go somewhere that can win now after they get Luka. Mm-hmm. But then I could go, man, LeBron knows Luka can't even win, doesn't even want to play with him. What a weird thing, man. What a weird thing. I saw Bronny having to answer questions. I have felt some empathy for Bronny, of course.
Yeah.
Having to answer questions about whether his dad wants to be there or not. Do you think they end up trading him? I think they end up trading him.
I don't.
Really?
I mean, Dame gets bought out, and people are like, "Oh man, so sad!" Like, waved and stretched.
Yeah, $110 million to go play wherever he wants.
So sad, whatever. But it's like, yeah, you get to pick wherever he wants.
Yeah.
And so he gets to take an Achilles year. You're getting paid for it anyway. Chill out, hang out with your kids, go wherever, move. I don't care. Do it.
So what does that have to do with LeBron?
I think they could. I think that's what he was hoping that they do.
Oh, he wants them to buy him.
He's like, I'm going to get my money. Nobody gave me credit. There's plenty of people that have talked about this, but nobody gave me credit for taking less in Miami, 10 years ago.
By the way, it was like $1 million he took less.
For sure. But I mean, because of the structure of the cap of free agency in the and cap space in the NBA, he has been underpaid for 20 years. Like
he's a billionaire.
Totally, but I'm not saying I want it.
You gotta hate all the billionaires, Mike. You can't just hate. Okay,
totally.
Right.
I'm not saying I want it. I'm not saying whatever. But he has made other billionaires a lot more rich than they have made him rich.
Well, I guess, yeah. Well, I think it sort of hurt. Sure, fine. I think like yes, it's very strange. The entire thing is very strange. I find it incredibly strange. Anything else? The other strange thing you mentioned there that happened is the Bucks seems like a moment of panic to keep Giannis happy, which you do, I think, if you have Giannis. I don't think it's going to work because I think Miles Turner's probably a little cooked, but they waive and stretch Damian Lillard, then they pay Miles Turner 5 years, $125 million, I think it was.
I'm seeing 4,107.
4,107, okay. They re-signed Gary Trent. What do you think? I mean, look, the way the East is...
They re-signed Bobby Portis, bringing Gary Harris, Torian Prince still there.
Yeah.
Kuzma's still there. Like
You're gonna need
I don't know who their guards are.
point guard.
Maybe
Yeah.
Kevin Porter Jr. That's not doing much for me. But
No.
I mean, I think because of how much better the Hawks have gotten and the Magic,
Yeah.
I think that, and we'll see what happens with the Celtics. Obviously, we'll see what happens with the Sixers. We'll see what the Pacers do. Losing Miles Turner for them is kind of it's a bummer. I understand why they're like, okay, we're not going to go into the tax, but you just went to the finals. Like, just do it. Like, just fucking do it. Honestly, I think that's loser shit. I think that the East is going to be. I think the top of the East is lacking, but I think teams that can win like 48 games. I think there's like 6 of them.
You think the Hawks could win 48 games?
Yeah, I think the Hawks are gonna be good. I put
People
some money
are really
on
high on the Hawks.
I put some money on the Hawks to win the East.
Do you? Don't you have to be high on Trae Young to be high on the Hawks?
I think Trae Young is a very specific kind of player. I'm not necessarily in love with him.
Yeah.
But hearing that he was super active in recruiting some of these guys to free agency, Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Luke Kennard.
Yeah.
I think they really have a team that you can survive his immense defensive deficiencies in Reece Shea, Jalen Wilson, Porzingis around the rim, Okongwu doing like some Bam Adebayo stuff. And Dyson Daniels is just one of the best defensive players in the league. And, Asa Newell, who they got in the draft, is going to be like a high activity, 4-5.
They feel like a
Nickeil can
44
guard.
win team to me.
I think they'll be better than that. I'll say they're higher than that. I think
Okay.
I think they're going to be able to have. I think they're going to be a top 10 offense and a top 10 defense. I'm excited to see it.
What a trade, by the way, I think, for the Nuggets to trade Michael Porter Jr., who is hurt all the time and also on his last legs physically. Michael Porter Jr. and a first for Cam Johnson.
Yeah.
Dude, I think that is an enormous upgrade for them. I think Cam Johnson is actually significantly better than Michael Porter Jr. at the moment. He's also a good shooter, but he's a far more complete player than Michael Porter Jr. is at this point. And they got Bruce Brown back too. I thought it was a nice little offseason for the Nuggets.
Great offseason for the Nugs. Trading Dario, who is just like physically incapable at this point, for Valanciunas because the Kings are the Kings.
Yeah.
That's a really solid backup for Jokic. That's going to help a lot. Denver's going to be a good team. Bruce for nothing is good. They got somebody else. Why am I forgetting who else they got? Denver.
Bruce Brown.
Tim Hardaway is going to be helpful.
Right.
They're going to be a good team. They did a good job retooling after it looked like they were in hell, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, they figured it out. Look at them.
Yeah.
That's smart. I think it was. I think Denver, Atlanta, and Houston with KD, Dorian Finney-Smith, Fred VanVleet at the number they got him at to resign.
Capella as a backup center for
Capella's
$7
fine.
million
I mean,
a
they
year.
like going two bigs.
Yeah.
And I think assuming that Steven Adams is going to be healthy for a full year is probably foolhardy. And Capella has been there, and you know what he's going to give you. So they can kind of play a couple of different ways with bigs with them in Şengün, and they like playing double big, which is fun. I think they're going to be good. I think there's a chance that Houston is the I think there's a chance they're 1 seed. I know they were 2 seed this year, so it's not super big takey, but
they're going to be really good. Them taking a swing, it's funny, you could look at the record and say, oh, they were 2 seed. Why'd they do the Durant trade? Why don't they just get, but you watch that team and you're like, oh, this team is like a 2 seed, but they're like a motherfucker or 2 away. They're missing, they have it feels like they have all the other guys of a championship team, but they didn't have. It's just tough for them to score, man. Watching them was pretty tough. So I think Durant will help them a lot. And
Durant's going to help another year of seasoning for Amen Thompson, who is awesome. They'll be able to defend. It's going to be an interesting team. Jabari, I think Jabari's a role player, but he's a good one to have. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have taken him that high in the draft, but he's a good role player to have. Useful. I like that. I've liked what Detroit has done this offseason.
They have to overpay people. They did a little bit. I think they sort of have to, but they gave Duncan Robinson, 3 years, $48 million. Karis LeVert, 2 years, $29. I love Karis LeVert. Feels like a lot.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Useful.
And then B-Ball, 2 years, $11.
B-Ball coming back. I love.
Yeah.
God bless him. Yeah, I mean, bummer on the Malik Beasley thing, man. Like that's.
Oh, dude.
It seems really, really sad. He was really in deep. Like that's so dark. Like to be an NBA player and be making that kind of money, and to be
and your dentist is suing you for not paying him.
Really bleak.
Your
man.
barber is suing you for not
really,
paying
really
him.
Bleak. That can't be. It feels like a story from like the 70s or 80s. Like it doesn't feel like a modern story. Aside from the fact that like the league is, very much in bed, as are we with like gambling sites, and they're gonna be like, this stuff's gonna keep happening. Malik Beasley it happened with Jonte, happened with Malik. It's gonna happen. It happened with Shohei almost. Like there's just gonna be these kinds of things are gonna keep happening. It's like, it's bizarre. I mean, it happened to Phillies farmhand who I love, Keaton Anthony, got played at Iowa, and they like suspended half the team for being involved, and I think the basketball team as well for being involved in like gambling. It's just gonna keep happening.
Well, the question is because I actually think it's likely the latter rather than the former with Malik Beasley. Former being he got himself so he's not getting himself so into gambling debt that he can't pay everybody back. I don't think that's what happens. I think he was so bad with money that he ended up getting involved with people who wanted him to fix stuff, which, by the way, was happening long before legal gambling as well.
Sure,
but
for sure.
But the other thing is, people were saying, well, you don't know that he did it. Let me tell you, when the feds make your name public in a fucking sports gambling thing, and we're on the Pistons, they probably know you did something wrong.
They cleared Terry Rozier, didn't they?
Did Terry Rozier ever get charged with anything?
I'm not sure, but he was implicated for sure. But yeah, I mean, some of the clips that are going around, it's tough, man.
Well, the clips are funny, man. I'm
tough.
sorry, whether they're right
I feel
or
bad
not.
for the
right.
guy. I've always liked Malik as a player, and it's a bummer. It's a real bummer for him.
Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast brought to you by BodyBio. BodyBio. The fast thing I'm on, I actually texted BodyBio Mike. I was like, is this safe? Should I do this? He's like my guru, which you can't have. That's not part of BodyBio, having Mike being your guru. However, BodyBio is a family-owned and operated local supplement company that cares about your body, your health. They do it the right way. They test everything before it goes out in a way that the big companies do not, because they're not nimble enough to do it. They update their formulas all the time in a way that the big companies are not able to do because they're not nimble enough. Use code AUGUST for 20% off anything you get at BodyBio. Minerals are super important. Minerals you used to be able to get from food, but because of the way the soil is, and then because of that, the way the food is, there's not as many minerals in there. And because we filter our water now, you're not getting the minerals from that. So you're not getting these minerals. What these minerals do is they're able to help your body let in the good stuff, keep out the bad stuff. So what Remineralize does is, gives you all those minerals. Comes from dried salt beds in Utah, very minimally processed. You put a drop in whatever you drink, with your Elite maybe, and your minerals back up to speed. Whether it's that or Elite or butyrate, whatever it is, go to bodybio.com, use code AUGUST. You're going to get 20% off your whole order. Again, that is bodybio.com, code AUGUST. I think that's it for free agency. Before we get to Summer League, I wanted to know what you thought of this. I was not listening to Mind the Game, though I will say this, the clips I see with Steve Nash look a lot easier stomach than the clips I used to see with JJ Redick. But
a more likable guy for sure.
Yeah. They had Kevin Durant on, and I saw this clip floating around. Thought it was interesting about them talking about the value of smaller guards in the current NBA. And given the fact that, our two of our brightest prospects or players being Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain are small guards, I thought this was interesting.
6'2" and under guard is at a premium no more as a starter. Maybe as a backup, but you have to be.
We just talked about this last.
It's gotten compressed.
It has.
Right? It's compressed.
It has.
It's at like either Donovan Mitchell, Drew Holiday, 6'3", or
Lou
6'4", Lou Dort,
Yeah.
or it's Nah, you got to be.
You can't get picked on defense. That's the thing, because we playing such the pick on game that they will really, literally, if you can't guard, they will bring you up every
single
play.
time.
Yeah.
And if
Every
you're
play.
6 foot, 6'1", and you're not a bulldog like a Davion Mitchell,
Yeah.
Drew Holidays, on the defense side, or you're not an
Or not
offensive
athletic
flat-out
as that,
savant like
Yeah.
Kyrie, where you can score on dudes 7 feet easily in ISO, then I just can't see it.
Darius Garland. Like, he's an amazing basketball player. I think his value right now, like, I'm shocked, like, we don't talk about him as like this amazing, like, because the era, like, if he played in any other era, I think he would have been like, his value would be through the roof.
Yeah.
Like, he's that skilled, he's water bug, he's got every shot, he can play make. But there's an era where it's like, okay, we also have to help that dude out defensively all the time.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, that's an example for me because he's such a good basketball player, right?
He's
yeah,
so tough.
I mean, it's just, he is, and it's like, but the defensive side of the ball is where, people will attack him. If you want a chance to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers, you are going at Darius Garland most of the time on the defensive side.
Darius.
So I guess just, speak to that when you think about now Maxi's been much better in the play or much better defensively than he was when he got here. We'll see on Jared McCain. I guess we think of them as either both or at least one of them being a core player of the team was to ever compete. What do you think about from a size factor? And then even you think about the finals, there wasn't a starter that was that size,
No, I mean, I think that's why I was low on McCain coming out of the draft. Now he's a way better offensive player right away than I anticipated, but it is a factor that you have to consider when you're considering rostering two small guards that you anticipate giving a big role to. Like, they never made it work with Damon CJ. They never quite made their defense good enough to where Portland was a legitimate contender. They made one conference finals. We haven't done that, so no shade to us always. But Damon CJ, Garland, and Mitchell, like, you really need the perfect fit. That's what I was talking about with Trae Young, is like, you need the perfect fit of other guys to make up for what you're lacking in those guys. And a healthy Joel Embiid, a healthy Paul George, that gets you a lot of the way there. VJ Edgecombe, Quentin Grimes, that certainly helps. All of it helps. I think they're still missing some like big athletic, versatile OG Anunoby type guys.
Yeah.
I wish they had some. They do not. But I think it's going to be a factor, and that's kind of why, people get upset when we talk about trading Maxey. People get upset when we talk about trading McCain. I don't love doing it. I wouldn't love to do either one, but I think at a certain point, then you're just going to have to consider doing it, because it's really hard to build around two of these guys. And that's why I'm just assuming that, McCain, I think McCain will start the year off the bench. Maybe they go, they decide, hey, why not? We know that this is going to be a problem. So
by the way,
let's allow them to work it out.
Basically said it on the podcast. He said Maxey and Grimes as a pairing.
Yeah, I think I think we called it out all last season. Horrible last season. Horrible, everybody. Nightmare time. Tyrese Maxey improved at a drastic level defensively last season. And I'm excited to see that in games that matter. And I'm excited to get to a point where I'm like, all right, I dare you to go it. I dare you to make your entire offense going at Maxey. If you want to post up, who's an example of somebody if you want to post up like
Mikal Bridges.
Mikal Bridges on Maxey every single time, and everybody else is just standing there. I want to say, like, go for it.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It's a factor. You can't ignore it. It's absolutely a factor.
So Sixers have announced their Summer League roster. Our pod this weekend will be the morning after the first Summer League game, which you'll be able to watch. Jared McCain, unfortunately, not playing Summer League, which would have been fun, but I think they're probably just being careful with him post-surgery. Justin Edwards, Adem Bona, VJ Edgecombe going to play, which will be fun. And when you look, the roster, like, he's going to get a lot of, like, primary guardy type minutes, so it'll be fun to see him try to do that.
Yep.
Alex Reese, who is a current favorite of mine. Broom is playing, Janai Broom, Joda Mintz, all names we've heard before, Jalen Hood-Schifino. Kevi Aluma, we've heard that before, right?
Yeah, he was on the team last year. Had a nice summer league, yeah.
And then a bunch
they
of
couldn't
guys.
get out. I think they tried to sign him to a two-way, but he couldn't get out of his contract. I think he was in Korea last year playing, and he couldn't get out of it. I remember that. So maybe they tried to sign him here.
Hunter Salas, Izzy Almanza, who we talked about, Jack Clark, who we talked about. The guys in the middle, Jalen Slauson, Caleb Stone Carawell, Mark Armstrong, Andrew Funk, Landers Nolly II, and St. Thomas. Do I know?
We talked about St. Thomas a little bit, who played at SC.
Mark
Armstrong played as a point guard, played 2 years at Nova. Not much to write home about. Some of these guys I haven't heard about. Jalen Slauson played at Furman, big rangy wing, long, athletic. We'll see if he learned how to do much else. Played in some iconic Furman tournament teams. And Landers Nolly played at Virginia Tech and Memphis and Cincinnati as kind of like a shoot-off movement kind of guy. Probably not going to make it. Andrew Funk played at Penn State.
Okay.
Yeah, there's not the time. I think that so Hunter Salas is on a two-way. I think he'll stick. I think probably Alex Reese will stick on a two-way. They signed him 2-1 last year.
I love Alex Reese.
And he's not, he seems nice. He's 6'8", reasonably like smooth as a defender, as a shooter that can get his shot off quick. And maybe they give Judah Mintz the last two-way spot over Jalen Hood-Schifino. I would like that. I think Mintz is a good player, and I would really rather they not use any of their last roster spots on another point guard. If the point guard rotation is just Maxey, McCain, and then Judah Mintz on a two-way, there's no reason to roster more small guys. There's just no reason to do it. So Kyle Lowry, I'm sorry, you're not tall enough to ride the ride. And if like Paul George needs to run some point, and Quentin Grimes, and I thought it was interesting. I mean, this is exactly what Summer League is for. VJ saying I'm going to run some point guard in Summer League.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
Let him work through it. I'm sure he's going to, make his mistakes, work his way through it, but that's what it's all about. Another good, there was a Justin Edwards quote that I liked. Sixers Adam pointed it out, that he said his goal was averaging 2 offensive rebounds in Summer League.
Yeah.
I'm like, that kicks ass, dude.
Well,
what
I
a
love
good,
that. I
what
love
a
that
good
kid,
quote.
man.
What a good line, and exactly a perfect thing to do. The thing I didn't mention about VJ, I don't think in the last few pods that I wanted to bring up now, is he's a really good fit for the style of defense that Nick Nurse wants to run.
The scrambly, turnover causing, pick six, hopefully you get sort of defense.
Yeah, I mean, you think about, those Toronto teams, right?
Yeah.
Where it's Siakam and Anunoby and all that stuff. And speaking of, the Kyle Lowry and Van Vliet are an example of that working enough to win a championship.
Yeah.
As two small guards. So that is the template, and you have Nick Nurse here, so that helps a little bit. But the thing that frustrates me about coaches is when they coach a philosophy that does not match their personnel.
Yeah.
And it felt like for years now, last year didn't matter, whatever. There's been too many times that for me that Nick Nurse has coached like he has 6'7", 6'8", rangy, quick twitch, high IQ defenders on his team, and he doesn't.
Yeah.
So VJ's still a little small, but super athletic, great defensive playmaker, going to get a ton of steals and blocks. He's got a ton of crazy dunks at Baylor that are exciting, but his weak side blocks out of nowhere are kind of the even more exciting. So that's going to be cool to see. I'm looking forward to that. I'm sure he's going to get some Thomas and Mack highlights there. And I just want to call out, as we're talking about VJ, it's the last thing. It's something that Michael Connor has written about on RightsToRickySanchez.com. Kyle Neubeck brought it up also. But like the Sixers going with a no losers philosophy.
Oh yeah.
With Edgecombe and Broom,
I love it.
It's good, man. I mean, anyone who's paid attention to this team, MOC pointed it out on his in one of his last articles, where it's like Nerlens was always late to everything.
Yeah.
Okafor never got better in any skill whatsoever. Fultz and Simmons and Harden were not matching whether it's their motor and their confidence.
Joel.
And then you got to call out Joel
Yeah.
for getting mopey and his lack of peak conditioning. And so it's just good to start having a series of guys who give a shit and are not going to get a little like cranky out there and let them get slow. Like if you're going to get cranky, get pissed off and like
Yes.
become a demon.
Yeah.
Don't just start to drag and ease up on it. And so I'm excited to see all of that sort of coalesce into changing the identity of this team, which for too long has been we're fucking losers.
Yeah. Last thing, because I don't think we've done a pod. No, we definitely haven't done a podcast. It's announced that Philly's getting a WNBA team in 2030.
Hell yeah.
It will play. So hilariously owned. Just want to call out a little lie from a few years ago.
Please.
So it'll be owned by Harris Blitzer or whatever. And when David Adelman was once questioned, I believe it was Adelman. I'm sorry, David, if it wasn't you. Why this ownership group didn't want to go get a WNBA team. He said the NBA wanted the WNBA team to be owned by somebody different than who owns the NBA team. Okay. And by the way, this is not coming from this. I don't watch WNBA. Like I don't watch hardly anything other than the major sports leagues. Don't watch college. So this isn't me like trying to own him as like Mr. WNBA, but it was definitely a lie. That's another interesting thing.
Pretty much all the W teams that are coming into the league, Detroit, Cleveland,
Owned by the NBA.
Toronto, owned at least in part by someone who has a piece of the NBA team.
Another just little interesting factoid, $250 million is the cost of the franchise, I believe. But
that's gone up from year because
Yes.
the Valkyries didn't cost for Golden State didn't cost that much. It keeps going up. The league is tremendously successful. The players are going into a big negotiation to try to get salaries up, to try to get roster spots up. It's a big deal. I'm very excited for them and to see what happens. And I'm excited that fucking Philly is involved in it. It's a long time coming. I'm really very excited about it.
The interesting fact about that number is that Josh Harris bought the Sixers, I think, for $247.
Is that really? I had not
Yes.
considered that. Wow.
Yeah. It was
What a
somewhere around
wonderful
there.
thing.
And now they're worth, I think, probably $5 billion or $4 billion. It was a nice little investment from him.
Yeah.
They'll start playing in the former Wells Fargo Center Xfinity Mobile Arena because they're going to start in 2030 unless the new arena. But I imagine they're going to keep that arena open. So I imagine they'll probably bounce back and forth between the new one and the old one for. But it's a long. Hopefully,
And I would
we're
like
all
a few,
live
like
in
the occasional
2030.
game at like the Palestra. Like, give me some like cool venues. Like, mix it up. I think that's the fun stuff. Like, there should be more playing at. They're like Hall of Fame game for baseball. Like those kinds of things are so fun. Play at an iconic arena from time to time. I would like to do that. I think NBA teams should do that as well. But I'm really pumped about it. I mean, it's a long way away.
Did Mike freeze for you, CJ? Yeah. Well, he's a long way away. He's pumped about it. All those things. This was the end of the pod anyway, right?
I think so.
Yeah, you can say the thing.
Can you hear me?
No.
Well, my internet just froze for a second.
You completely frozen.
Froze.
Yeah.
My last thing that I was saying was that I'm so certain that the name is going to be bad.
Oh, yeah.
I know that with
fucking freedom
extreme
or fucking
confidence.
Yeah.
I will try to think of a better one. We have 5 years to do it, but all the ones that I've seen out there,
they're all gonna suck.
The Bells,
It sucks.
the Dawn, the Revolution,
sucks.
the Rage, which is from a former Philadelphia team that was it started as the Richmond Rage, which was a women's basketball team, and they moved to W, and that's the team that Dawn played for.
Jack had a good idea. The 76 Hers.
No, that's not good. No. So we'll try to think of a better one, but it is also worth knowing that like all sports team names are bad, like pretty much across the board.
Like mascots, they're bad until they're not. Until
For
they're
sure.
normal. Yeah.
I'm like the Sixers are. What is that? What are we
is it
doing
even?
with that?
Yeah. Well, it's
What is-
76ers.
What could we be? Well, for sure.
Yeah.
But if you call them the 76ers, then you're
Yeah.
like an alien.
Police officer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, cop. Yeah.
But I'm really excited, and I'm excited to see like how they build this out and where it's going to go from here. And it'll be nice to have a team that has a chance of success. because the Sixers don't and haven't and never will. Do we want to talk about my rec league championship, or are we saving that for next week as well, Spike?
I'm sorry, dude.
You said we teased it at the end of last
You see
time.
the rundown? Do you want to do it now, or do you want to do it
Let's
Sunday?
tease it. Let's tease it again.
Tease it again. See, this is now you're learning. You're learning. you
Tease.
know?
People are
Tease.
skipping ahead. Where's the
about
rec
this?
league championship?
How about this? We're gonna lead with it on Sunday.
Well, we'll see. If Quentin Grimes signs, maybe we leave with that. But if there's no
Okay.
interesting signings, then you're starting with my rec league championship.
Yes. We will talk to you Sunday. Are you down with TTP?
Yeah, lick face.